Niagara Falls, one of the 8 wonders of the world, seen by millions of visitors every year and arguably one of the most beautiful forces of nature. A popular destination for people from all over the planet, restaurants, amusement park rides, a casino full of twinkling lights and aspirations of the million-dollar dream. Once a convention center, now a multi-million-dollar resort for those looking to strike it rich. But in plain sight lies the remains of what once was a world-renowned sculpture of glass, concrete, and color, a place that I visited every year in my youth that would foreshadow my love for retail. Let's remember the past, and let me show you that there are still some things hiding behind plain sight for almost 20 years. Welcome back to the magic that was the Rainbow Center Factory Outlet, Niagara Falls, USA. The Winter Garden Plant Conservatory was a 107-foot-tall massive structure utopia of steel, nature, and a constant 70 degrees. Dividing the two sides of the Rainbow Center Mall, it provided a spectacular oasis of over 225 different plant species surrounded by fountains, seating areas, and stone walkways, and it was the centerpiece of the annual Festival of Lights in the wintertime. Construction of the Winter Garden was completed in 1978 at a cost of $7.8 million, which is roughly $30 million in today's money. Argentinian architect Cesar Pelli was commissioned to design the structure as part of the 1970s Niagara Falls Urban Renewal Project downtown. The structure itself would draw over 5,000 visitors a weekend to simply grab a bite from the mall's food court and sit amongst the birds and nature, or to marvel at the lush waterfall and grotto or a plethora of plants that existed in a makeshift natural habitat. The Winter Garden was a unifying piece to the mall, but ultimately 3 things led to its demise. The mall's transition into an outlet mall, and the less talked about prevailing theory that the glass giant was actually blocking a road and it was built on Old Falls Street, which would later be made open again. And lastly, although beautiful it was an odd choice and not really weathered, no pun intended, for the harsh weathers and climate of western New York. It had non-insulated single-pane glass and became a burden for the city to maintain and heat, and keep heated during the winter months. The Winter Garden was an amazing centerpiece to an even more amazing mall that I will never forget from the youthful days of my childhood coming here on annual church retreats with my local Methodist church. I'm going to take you back in time now and show you the interior of the mall in its heyday in the Christmas time during the Festival of Lights. So close your eyes, step into a cold environment, and let me take you back to the glory days of the mall.
right in the heart of festival activities is the Rainbow Center Factory Outlet Mall, a holiday shopper's delight. A wide variety of stores, a food court, and convenient parking make the Rainbow Center an enjoyable and convenient addition to anyone's festival itinerary.
Is that not incredible footage or what? Man, if I only had a time machine to go back and relive those days. Gonna chat here for a few minutes. Hope you guys are enjoying the documentary so far. You're looking at some current images of what is left of the exterior of the Rainbow Center Mall. The white archway there is where the tunnel connected it to the office building you just saw moments ago. There are little remnants here and there, those red handleways on the door there, of the mall from an exterior perspective. The parking garage is still all intact. A lot of the Rainbow Center factory outlet signage has been removed. As a matter of fact, pretty much all of it has. And there is a surprise coming in just a little bit, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. There is almost no footage of this property online from back in the day. It's almost like it just didn't exist, or was like an apparition, for lack of a better term. But I have very, very fond memories of going to this place in my, I think, middle school to high school days, every year annually for our Methodist church retreat. We'd stay there for a weekend. They'd have a dance for us, and it was a church event, but wasn't really over churchy. It was just kind of an outing for kids, and to spread the word of God, or whatever you want to call it. But the next few minutes here are going to be some of the most incredible mall footage that exists, that predates any dead mall explorer. Fortunately, one of the janitors that used to work at the mall took some awesome footage from way back in the day, early 90s. So I want you to sit back and enjoy this amazing piece of mall history.
This mall actually started out as a parking ramp. This mall was once just a parking ramp nobody was using that was connected to the Winter Garden. A lot of money went into this mall. TB started out here in like 93, around 93. To build this place, it took about, OTB took over 6 stores. Well, yeah, around 6 stores. This whole food court was packed with people. On busy shopping days during the holidays, it was hard to get into this food court. And over at Time Out, forget it. You couldn't even get in there. Right here, there used to be, I remember when this was a handbag store, Secaucus Handbag. But somebody told me it used to be a restaurant. I know right here where Honeymoon Capital is, that used to be a restaurant. GNC's original. GNC's been here since the mall opened. Deb's shop just recently moved into this space right here. This used to be Newport News, I believe. Newport News was a clothing store. After they left, the space was empty for a long time. Barely Ours used to be a bookstore. I don't know what it was before a bookstore. I imagine it used to be a clothing store or something. Greetings and More is going to be leaving soon. Well, before it was Greetings and More, it was Radio Shack. I think Radio Shack was the original. I think Radio Shack was original when the mall first opened. This game room, well, I would actually call it a game room. It's more or less a closet. This was originally Deb Shop. As you can see, this whole side of the mall is empty. Right here there was a store called USA Classic. And then here was, I don't know if you could see it, I'll have to move. This was a store called, I think this was a store called Video Games R Us. And then right here was Athlete's Den. Right here was CPI. Before that it was Photomat. And of course right here it was Music for Less. And this was Trench, but before it was Trench it was Varsity Sports, and then it was something else. But I remember Lindsay Photo was on this side, and all kinds of original shops. Originally, this was Playland Toys, and then that company was bought out by KB Toys, and KB took over this space and stayed here for a few years. Stayed here for a long time, and then once KB Toys left, the kids really stopped coming to this mall. Candy Barrel's original. Rite Aid was here, but it's gone now. They use this for storage for London Fog. Here used to be not a handbag place, it used to be like a luggage store. Before that was London Fog, it was Fashion Bug, and down there it was Fashion Bug Plus. Or the other way around, I can't remember. This is where Honeymoon Capital used to be. Now they're upstairs. This was Arrow. Before it was Arrow, it was something else. I remember when it was Cavage's music store. Orsheim used to be Walden Bookstore. I don't know what it was before that.
The Rainbow Center Mall opened on July 4th, 1982 as part of a failed urban renewal project. Initially, the mall was successful, but it did not turn a profit until 1990, so the first 8 years of the mall were a failure in terms of financial success. The original Anchor Beers department store was replaced by a Burlington coat factory in 1990, and the majority of the mall tenants were then replaced with outlet store tenants. So half this mall's life, it was an outlet mall. As I had mentioned earlier, the mall was a popular destination during the Niagara Falls Festival of Lights throughout the 80s and 90s. However, in the late 90s, the mall lost a lot of its competition and traffic due to the renovation of the fashion outlets of Niagara Falls. It's about 5 to 6 miles away, so that really hurt the Rainbow Center Mall. The mall never received any updating in its entire history, so in the whole 18 years that it was open, it looked like it originally looked when it opened. It began to fall into disrepair, and then Burlington Coat Factory closed in 1999, and the entire mall closed in 2000. However, the mall would remain open until about 2005 to indoor foot traffic due to the fact that there was a successful off-track betting, OTB, in the mall. The mall fell into disrepair, and the Cordish Company, which owned the mall for its entire existence, turned the mall over to the Niagara Culinary Institute in 2011 as a donation to renovate the property. And current day, fast forwarding, I've been told that the Culinary Institute that has replaced the mall in some fashion is not doing very well, and the funding they don't know how much longer that's going to last. So 2011 they gutted the mall, and then in 2012 the mall reopened as the culinary, or the portion of the old mall reopened as the culinary center. So I'm so grateful that I was able to see the remnants of this mall finally. I knew there was some left. There wasn't as much left as I had hoped, but I hope that you still enjoyed the video. This was a rather long video, but a mall of this stature that had this much significance to the community with the aesthetics and the Winter Garden, I thought deserved its due justice. There's much more mall content coming. We'll be resuming the Great American Mall Trip in 2 weeks with the next video in that series. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter at AcesAdventures1. Consider becoming a Patreon donor at patreon.com/AcesAdventures, and also check me out on Facebook at Aces Adventures. Enjoy the rest of the tour of the former Rainbow Center Mall. This is Anthony with Aces Adventures, and have a great weekend. Oh, wow.
Rushing to my head, your lips are sweet as candy. Light a million candles, light a million candles. I don't need no aphrodisiac to make it your handmade, yeah. Your skin so silky to the touch that I can barely stand it. You shouldn't be afraid, no. You should never be ashamed, no. Because you look so lovely in the glow, a beautiful sight. alone together, it's so hard not to let my feelings show. Well, baby, we ain't got nothing to hide. So tonight, let's leave the lights on.